Hello and welcome to another episode of the Socratic Program. Today I'm going to start a series where I'm going to teach you how to build a microservice using Node.js. This series is catered to web developers who are new to Node.js. So if you are already a web developer but you never used Node.js before and you want to learn how to use it in order to create microservices, this is the right place. So what's the plan? We are going to review, we are going to do a CRUD application. So we are going to be able to create records, update records, read records, delete records, and the records are going to be about books, right? And the database that we are going to use is going to be Postgres. So this is the table of contents. I'm going to do one video for each item on this table. And the first video is basically this little intro I'm doing right now. And then we are going to see how to set up our development environment. So in order to have a foundation, we are going to set up the database, the ORM, a minimal server that is listening to a port. And then we are going to learn how to create each one of our CRUD endpoints. Then we are going to learn how to create tests using Jest. Then I'm going to show you how to create documentation with Swagger. And finally, I'm going to show you how to create a Docker image of your microservice and use that image to deploy your microservice. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to close this window and I'm going to create a folder for my project. So I'm going to go to my projects folder, and inside I'm going to create a folder called Node.js Microservice. And I'm going to go inside of this folder, and here I'm going to use the npm package manager for Node.js. So I'm going to do npm init, and this initializes our project. I'm going to just press enter, enter, enter. Those defaults are fine, and you will see that a file called package.json is created inside of this folder. And this file, what it does, it basically keeps track of all of the metadata about your project. So here you have the name, the version, etc. And eventually you will see here all of the packages that you installed and some other stuff. But basically we have to install our packages now. So I'm going to need Express. Express is like a framework that allows you to work with Node.js more easily. Also body parser. This will help us parse the body of our requests. And we are going to need okay, that's fine for now. Okay. So now it is downloading all of the packages and their dependencies. And you will see, if I do ls, and you will see that a new folder is created. And here you will find all of the packages that you installed, and the dependencies of said packages. And also, if you query packages, sorry, I'm going to go back. If you query packages.json, you will see that here are the two new packages that we just installed. I am forgetting about one package. We have to actually install Prisma as well, and also yeah, the Prisma client. So as I said, Prisma is going to be ORM, so it's going to allow us to more easily work with the database. And this is it. So now we can go to Visual Studio Code, and there we can open our newly created folder. Just let me where it was. Okay, here. So I have it here, and we can start creating some folders right here. Okay, so I'm going to create some folders. First of all, we're going to need a controllers folder, and then a routes folder. So this is very typical on a Node.js API. So here we'll have our actual business logic, so our functions. And here we are going to put all of our routes. And another thing that we have to do is create an index file. So I'm going to create an index.js. And here is this is going to be the entry point of our microservice. So here we have to start the server, and what we can do first is we have to import Express, right? Okay. After that, we can create our application, or actual Express application. If you do this using this function, so you will see here in the documentation that it creates an Express application. So that's what we are doing here. And then we have to make this application listen in a port. So if you see, and basically what you have to do here is you pass a port number. If you want to, you can pass a host name as well, and then a callback. So that's what we are going to do. I'm going to put the port 4001, then a callback, which is only going to be a log, right? A console log, sorry. And then server is running. So if we run this, let's see what happens. So the server is running. Okay. So it's not a very good practice to hard code the port and other stuff. And normally you would want this information to be contained inside a .env file. So you can change this according to your environment. So I'm going to create a .env file, and inside I'm going to create a port environment variable. After that, what I have to do is I have to install a package called .env. And then here I'm going to do .env acquire.b, and we are going to use the config function, which basically loads the contents of the .env file into our project, right? And after that, what we can do, once we loaded the contents of this file, we can create a variable called port, which is going to be a constant actually, so with caps, right? And it's going to be 4001. Sorry, actually, it's going to be process.env and the name of our environment variable. And if it doesn't exist, let's say we want this port to be 5000, right? So we're going to use this port here. Sorry, my language configuration is screwing me up a bit. Okay, and here we are going to put port as well. So now we will see that if I change this, the new port is actually the one that I just wrote, right? So we're going to put this back, and okay, so what else? Okay, so now we have a basic Node.js server, Express server up and running. And one thing that we can do is we can create some scripts that are going to be helpful during development. So there is one script in particular, and it is, or actually, I'm going to erase this. So you will see that there is a scripts field, and here you can create all of the scripts that you want, and the key is going to be the name of your script. So in our case, I want to create a development script, and here I'm going to do a node mon index.js, and actually I want start script as well, or let's call it run, and it's going to be node index.js. So what this is going to do, it will allow us to make changes to our files and to immediately see those changes. So this is a code reloading kind of thing, and so you can instantly see your changes. The only changes that you're not going to see instantly are the changes that you did do inside of your environment file. So those require like stopping the service and then starting it again. But for changes on normal files, you can use nodemon and you will instantly see those changes. So we need to install this package, and we are going to install it in a way that it only gets installed on a development environment. So I'm going to do save dev nodemon, and there you go. Okay, so here you will see that you have dev dependency, development dependency, which is nodemon. And if I run and npm the name of my script, run, sorry, dev, actually this should be start, sorry. So run dev, and nodemon is activated. And if I do a change, for example, is running on port, you instantly see those changes, right? So that's the idea. And the other script just runs the file normally. So it's going to be run start and it runs the file normally without using Node1. But yes, we are going to use Node1. So now we need a database, and for that, I'm going to just pull the Postgres Docker image and work with that during development. So that's very easy. You just have to do sudo docker pull Postgres Alpine. I prefer to use Alpine because this image is more lightweight, and it takes a little less to download, but it still takes a while. Okay, perfect. So here I am on Docker Hub, the official Postgres page, right? And if you go down here, you will see this command that we can adapt in order to run our image. So I'm just going to call it Postgres. This is going to be the name of the container, right? And password, I'm just going to go with 123. I'm going to specify the port, and I think that the default port is this. So I'm doing a bit of port mapping here in order to have this port visible on my local host. And I think the name of the image is just Alpine. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, permission denied. I have to do this with sudo. Okay, it looks like it works, but let's check it out. Okay, it's working. And another thing you can do here in order to check if the database is actually working is sudo docker and the ID of the container, and you are going to run a bash shell on that container. Oh, sorry, sudo docker exec. Okay, so here I can run PSQL with the user Postgres, and I am inside my Postgres database. So that's very easy. Now we have database, and the next thing we want to do is we want to configure a Prisma in order to interact with the database. So to start using Prisma, you have to run this command, npx prisma init. And npx is just a command that you use in order to run a binary from an npm package, right? So we are running a binary which is Prisma, init from the Prisma package. And this command, what it does, it creates a new folder, as you can see, and it has a file which is called schema.prisma, and here we have some basic configurations, which the defaults are just fine. We can just leave it like that, and you will see that there is a URL. So this is the connection string for the database, and it is an environment variable called database URL. So this database URL environment variable should be inside of our .env file, but we don't have to create it because Prisma already creates this field for us. The only thing we need to do here is to edit this information in order for it to match with our database. So here is going to be the Postgres user, the 123 password, and the rest is fine. MyDB, this is the name of the database. Let's just leave it like that. So we save, and here I need to create my schema. So my models. I only going to have one table. So this is going to be the books table. So say models, right? And here we have the books model. And the books model is going to be model books. And the first field is going to be the ID, which is going to be an integer, and it's going to be an auto-incremental integer. So auto-increment, right? So then we need a title. The title should be mandatory, so a required field. In order to do that in Prisma, we just put this interrogation sign, and automatically this field becomes required. You also need an author. I think this should be required as well. Year, integer, and finally, yes, the subject matter. Save the subject as well. So that's our book schema, and now we can finally create our tables, or in this case our table, and we are going to use npx Prisma migrate dev, and you should only use this command on development, never in production. There is another command that you use for production development, and we will see that later. So I don't need a name, that's fine. Okay, so everything went okay, and that's really all for today. The idea with today's video was basically to just lay the foundations for the rest of the tutorial. So basically setting up our development environment, and for that purpose we set up our project using npm. We installed our packages, we created some useful scripts, for example the node script, which is super useful during development. We started our PostgreSQL instance using Docker. We created our Express server, and we also implemented our database schema using Prisma. And so we are now ready to go to the next phase, which is actually writing our API endpoints. And we are going to do that during the next class. So stay tuned and see you next time.